broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to
Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.
Questions.
Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest. Yeah. What about you?
I'm the middle child of 7.
7. Religious?
Mm-mm.
Just breeders.
Yeah, they just like kids.
Yeah. They like kids and what goes along with making kids.
I don't like to think about that part.
Yeah, that's fair. When I was a kid, I don't remember doing this, but my mom told me I walked in their bedroom in the middle of the night and asked if I could watch them have sex. I wanted to know what it was. It's an embarrassing fact about me. So you are 23? Mm-hmm. You're a young man.
That's what I've been told.
You're young. Do you feel young or do you feel...
No, I've been told I act kind of old.
Yeah, you do. I've listened to one of your interviews, and you are very, you're a calm guy. You don't have a lot of range.
Yeah, pretty even.
You're not. Yeah, you're not that.
No,
but maybe that's why you're such a competitor.
Yeah, no, it definitely helps. I think it's performance-wise, it's usually good to be pretty calm.
What's the most? Obviously, I heard you even compare it to being you pitched in baseball. I played baseball as well up until JV in high school. Didn't get that high.
About same.
Yeah, but you compared it to having to stay calm as a pitcher, and you seem like a calm guy. That being said, what is the most angry you've ever gotten on the court? Because you've been playing a long time. You had to have a moment where you were pissed. Maybe the other player was cheating. Maybe a bad. Do they have line judges in pickleball at the high end?
They have head referees which can overrule calls, and they have a challenge system like tennis where you can challenge a call. So that kind of helps a lot. We used to have line judges for every line, but then the players didn't like it because the line judges were often wrong, and that would really screw things up. So we kind of trusted the head referees in the challenge system more, and the other players' integrity. There's not too many people that cheat straight up that much. It's not as bad as like tennis. Mm-hmm. So we kind of went with that system, and it's worked pretty well so far. But we'll probably get to more line judges eventually. But to answer your question, times I've been most mad, it's usually come down to cheating or obnoxious stuff. So if you're just kind of full on one of the, like, come on, like you have a fist pump and after you win a point and all that, which is fine. But if you kind of do it with a stare down and you do it on dumb stuff, like when you won kind of a cheat point, or stuff that's basically purposefully antagonistic, I don't really take that very well.
So you are a calm demeanor and you expect that out of your opponent.
You don't have to be calm. Do what you want to do. Just don't be antagonistic about it. You can pump yourself up. Just don't do it to my team.
Maybe someone's going to be watching this.
Last time somebody did that to me, I hit them in the face with the ball on a point, which is completely legit. Yeah. I was aiming for their chest, to be fair. I don't go for face. That's dangerous. But yeah, I don't really like when people do that.
Hilarious.
And definitely cheating is the one that gets to be the most. So like, I can remember one instance where I know I hit a guy and he said it didn't hit him. And I was like, well, you're just lying. So I was pretty mad for the rest of that match. But it's still not extreme. I'm not going to be all up in arms about something on court.
No one likes cheating, for sure. And then the thing, obviously,
have some integrity, everybody.
Yeah, and no one likes, a button pusher or an antagonistic person as well. But hearing how much you dislike it, if I was your opponent after hearing this, I might be like, you know what, I'm going to do it. It seems like it'll get in his head.
On one hand, you might think that.
Or use your anger
what I've been
against
told,
it,
though, mostly, so the times where I've lost matches that I wasn't supposed to lose most often was when I was kind of like, I looked asleep on the court. I wasn't riled up. I was just like, going through the motions. Like, I didn't care enough, basically.
True.
People are like, you looked bored out there. I wasn't playing with enough energy, whatever the case. And most of the time, like, one of my friends tells me, like, you better get Ben while he's asleep, because don't poke him. Don't make him wake up.
That's interesting.
And so, yeah, maybe there is some theory to getting somebody too riled up and then they're just losing control. But in my case, I'd say you probably more give me energy and motivation to really give you a beat down. So I'd say it works in my favor more often than not.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe you. You know what you're talking about. So you've been playing tennis, pickleball, ping pong, or how long have you been playing pickleball?
Pickleball, a little over 6 years now.
And obviously, I'm sure you were pretty good from the start because you played the other sports.
Yeah.
It's a newer, or not, I don't know if it's a newer sport, but it's newer in popularity.
Is. Yeah, both.
For sure. And when you started playing, at what point were you like, you know what? I'm going to enter a tournament because it's like, I was always a pretty good ping pong player, table tennis.
Yeah.
But I was never like, I need to go pro.
Right.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I view table tennis as more like, oh, we all play ping pong in our basement, right? Like that's how most people in the U.S. do it. Over in like other countries, it's a little more serious. But the tennis world, it's not really like baseball or basketball, or it's high school oriented. It's tournament oriented. Like you go play tournaments if you want to play good players.
Right.
So I came from a tennis background. Like my brother played professional tennis, and with that in mind, it's just like you immediately look for tournaments because that's just what you do. For pickleball, I considered it more of a game than a sport. When I first played, I was like, this isn't real. Well, I'll just play. But some people that I first started playing with were just like, hey, the first U.S. Open ever is in 2 months, like when I first started. And it's like 30 minutes from here. I was like, that's kind of cool. So a month in, I was like, hey, what the heck? I'll play the first U.S. Open. It's kind of cool. I think it's funny that there's U.S. Open for this game that I played.
What were the
silly.
Qualifications?
There weren't any.
It was just open. So I could sign up for the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
is it still like that?
So you can do that for the non-pro divisions, and you might get in, you might not. It's kind of like a lottery system for the lower levels. For the pro level, now you have to have some qualifications, like a rating.
Got it. Mo, he's producing today.
What's up, Mel?
How's it going?
Yeah.
Producer, cool.
This is Ben Johns. He's the #1 pickleball player on the planet Earth. I said the country earlier. It sounds cooler to say planet Earth.
Yeah, I mean, we can say in the universe if you want.
Universe.
Yeah, universe. That's insane. Good
Multiverse.
accolade.
Yeah.
Or maybe I said the world earlier. Whatever. He's
Universe.
good. He's a good player.
I'm decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, my first tournament ended up being the first U.S. Open ever. And like you could just enter.
How'd you do in that?
So you can enter just whatever skill level at the time. And I was like, what the heck? I'll play pro. Because I'd been playing singles and doubles. I was decent at doubles, but I was better at singles because it was more like tennis. So I was like, I'll enter age mixed doubles.
go big or go home.
And I'll go pro singles.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting 5th. So I was like, I guess I'm good. But on the other hand, I was also
You were playing 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months into playing the sport, you got 5th in the biggest tournament there was.
Yeah.
At the time.
Right. It's biggest or second biggest. And, but it's funny because that didn't make me take it more seriously. I was like, hey,
I
if
could
I
see
can
why.
get 5th
Yeah,
in the
it's not
pro,
that great
I was
of a
like,
sport.
I'm beating most of the people that are good, and I only lost like the guy that won it and the guy that got 3rd. This can't be a real sport if I'm this good,
right?
Quotation marks. In 2 months, so I didn't take it very seriously. So
Maybe it wasn't at the time.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It honestly was not.
Yeah.
It was definitely in its infancy. First U.S. Open should tell you a lot. I mean, the first U.S. Open for tennis was in like, I don't know, the 40s or 50s or something like that.
I don't even know. Yeah.
But a long time ago. So you can see if it's similar to tennis.
What
in
was the
that
highest
aspect.
level of tennis you played at?
So I kind of like to call myself a professional hitting partner, but a terrible player because I stopped playing tournaments when I was 11. I was pretty good at that age.
Right.
Like I was a top in my section, the Mid-Atlantic. But honestly, when you're that young, and I mean, it's not that hard to do.
Right.
And then when I
So you
kinda
didn't
got
play high
older-
school tennis?
No, I did not play high school tennis. I stopped playing tournaments after 11, and I chose not to play in college either. But up to 17, 18 years of age, whenever my older brother was around, he's 6 years older, he played on the pro tour since he was 19. So,
Pro tennis?
Yeah, pro, like ATP.
Got it.
Yeah, so he was really, really good.
And you played with him, so you were
I'd be his
by
practice
default
partner.
not
Yeah,
a bad tennis
exactly.
player.
Yeah, so I was a really good hitting partner, but if it came down to a match, I wasn't nearly as good.
Is part of the reason you gave up on tennis, or I don't know if gave up is the word.
I
Stopped
just wasn't
playing.
interested in it.
It is part of the reason because your brother was so into it and you weren't as good as him?
Not
or
really. Like I always kind of did what he did. It was more of a thing. It was just genuine interest. Like he was obsessed with it. He loved it. He actually picked it up when he was 14 years of age, which is just crazy old.
How old is he now?
He is 29.
Got it.
But
And he still play?
he quit the pro tour of tennis 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't like it as much as him. Like he was OCD about it. He started when he was super old and
Right.
still played obsessively anyway. I was just like, at my age, I didn't do any one thing a lot. I was like more about variety and trying stuff. And that's why pickleball was funny because I found it when I was almost 17. And by that time I was like, okay, I'm actually ready to work hard at something and not be like, oh, I want to try everything, right? I've already tried enough things where I was like, I actually like this. I'll do it more. But
Is
I
he
wouldn't
into
do that with
pickleball
tennis.
now?
Yeah, he's my doubles partner now. So
Yeah. Oh, so he plays with you, pro.
right. Yeah. He plays pro pickleball now.
I was just thinking that. I was like,
Seems to make a lot of sense, right?
yeah. So I used to be really into longboard skateboarding. It's almost kind of like pickleball when you think about it, because it's like this niche
It's a niche
subsector
sport, yeah.
of like pickleball is almost like a subsector of tennis, or
Right.
table tennis.
Mhm.
And longboard is kind of like skateboarding, but the best skateboarders probably look down upon it. The best tennis players are like, yeah, have fun with your pickleball.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I remember the best longboarder, and he was really good at longboarding. But in my head, I was like, he was probably not a fail, but like a really good skateboarder that wasn't one of the best skateboarders.
Correct, yeah.
So and I was like, imagine if one of the best tennis players picked up pickleball.
For sure. And it's interesting you say that because there's definitely parallels in pickleball. Like a lot of the best players are former tennis players that are either done with tennis or a lot of them have like played good college tennis, like D1 tennis. So they're not bad players by any means. There's professional tennis players that quit, like my brother and some other guys that play now. So there's very legit tennis players, but it's obviously like they're done with tennis, right? They either
But that's
played
the
for a
first
while
wave.
Yes,
It's going to change, especially now that pickleball players are making money. And there's a huge TikTok table tennis. Like I don't even really play pickleball. My family does, and I played it a few times, but I'm not that into it. But my algorithm is full of pickleball videos.
It's funny how TikTok works.
And kids watch those. So now there's gonna be a new generation of pickleball players that take it to another level.
For sure.
That start by playing pickleball and not playing tennis.
Yeah,
or
no,
table
that's
tennis.
definitely true. I think we'll see a lot of the tennis players in the near future because it's a lot easier to transfer. It's going to take some amount of years before, that happens. But no question, we're going to see like some very different things. Like the sport should look completely different in 10 years, right?
Have you ever played someone, maybe a younger player, at pickleball and thought to yourself, "Oh, they're going to be better than me. This kid's got potential."
So my mixed doubles partner is actually 15. So she's a 15-year-old girl, and she's the best girl in the world. So I think like
Better than anyone, older or younger.
in the girls,
Yeah.
on the girls' side. So I mean, you can't really compare guys and girls directly, but I'm just like in terms of how good she is.
She's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
It's silly. It's absolutely silly. Like I played with her this morning, and she's like, if I had to say it, I'm just like, she's just more talented. She's more talented than I am. So whether you can beat me straight up or not, it's just like she's more dominant, right? Or she will be. And I guess I haven't played with enough other younger players to be like, they're definitely going to be better than me, but I have no doubt it's going to happen eventually, right?
What about your brother? Do you see him getting better than you?
No, because he doesn't play singles. He doesn't.
Why?
He used to, and then he's just like, this is too much like tennis. I already did that. I'm just going to stick to doubles, and singles is a lot of work. And he's like, I don't really want to compete a whole day and get super tired and sore when I'm playing 5 matches in a day and then get third and make not even that much money. It's just not worth it. And then doubles. So we're just different. We play different sides. So there's left side and right side. And it's hard to compare the two types of players because we have very different roles. Like he does stuff that he's really good at that's good for that side, and I do stuff that I'm good at on the other side, and they're just not very comparable, basically.
And do you ever play the other side just for fun? No. Stay away from it.
Yeah, the right side for me is not even pictures. I'm just like, I'll take my left side. It's my good side. So yeah,
fair enough.
But no, he's definitely very good at what he does. But there's not enough comparisons to say he's going to be better than me.
Are you guys obviously are at this point pretty close relationship? If you play close brothers, do you guys ever get in fights on the court?
No, never.
Disagreements? No.
No, I mean, we'll have bad matches, but you still got to communicate and
shake
stuff.
it off. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're partnering at a high level, you're not fighting anymore. It's more
But I
discipline.
imagine you're both pretty competitive.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we both want to win very badly, but we're going to do that together. We're not like, if you're getting mad at each other, you're doing it the wrong way.
And is his primary income pickleball as well? Are you both?
It is now.
Yeah.
He went from pro tennis to pro pickleball, and then last year he quit his job as a country club pro and went full-time pickleball with me.
Did he make more money playing tennis or pickleball?
Pickleball. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, tennis, it's pretty high end ranking wise. So you got to be top 100 to make a real living.
Yeah.
And he was about 700 in the world. So
that's interesting.
Ranking,
Only about 100 tennis players make a real living.
Yeah. I
So
think
if you're ranked
on the girls'
150,
side, it's probably smaller than that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's hard.
It's hard.
It's very
really
competitive. Whereas he was a top pickleball player within like 2 years of playing. And I mean, the money's gotten a lot better, but you're making good money within a couple years.
And how many pickleball players? You say 100 male tennis players make a living. How many pickleball players do you think make a living at pickleball?
So it's hard to define because you have to classify them as a full-time player or a full-time player plus teaching to kind of subsidize that. So teaching you can do really
I'd say
easily.
just player.
most of them choose to teach additionally. So it's like they probably could do only playing and make a decent wage, but then they also choose to teach for extra. But I'd say the amount that could just play and have, say, above 6 figures is probably maybe 10 to 15.
Not bad.
Yeah.
It's new.
Yeah.
It'll grow.
Probably 10 to 15 guys and maybe 10 guys and 5 to 7 girls.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. Are your parents proud of you guys?
My parents have 7 kids, so they have a lot of kids that are into a lot of stuff. But yeah, they're always proud of whatever we choose to do. They were probably as proud as of me as for getting my degree as winning such and such tournaments. They tune in.
So
and
school is very important to them.
Yeah, but like they're just more about like, hey, whatever makes you happy, go have fun, and we're proud of you no matter what.
But it's such a unique thing, and it's this new sport, and you're a professional athlete.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Do they brag about you to their friends? Ben, he's the #1 pickleball player. No big deal. He's going to be on CBS today.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I'll talk to their friends. And they're like, "Yeah, we didn't even know about you for like a couple years." I was like, "He never mentioned me." They're like, "No, not really." They just had to come up.
I feel like I'd be stoked. If you were my brother, I'd be like, my younger brother, #1 pickleball player.
My siblings will talk to me up more than my parents. My parents are pretty subtle.
Wow. What about college? I'm surprised you wanted to finish college.
Yeah, that's been said to me a number of times. But when I entered college, pickleball wasn't big enough to do full time. Like I entered in 2017, fall of 2017, and I wouldn't say pickleball was even an option in my mind as a full time career until probably 2019. So you were already
almost halfway through.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm going to finish at this point.
And at that point, I was like, if I can do both, I'm going to do both, right? I'm going to finish it for more of my own satisfaction than anything. And I don't see a reason not to work hard enough to do both.
Did that in college, did you go to a big school?
I went to the University of Maryland, which is like 25 undergrad.
25,000 people, so pretty big. Did you have that reputation? Oh, that's Ben. He's a pickleball guy.
I didn't really bring it up, and it wasn't widely known.
Right, it's not a big enough sport to where they're like the pickleball guy.
Right, yeah. It was only kind of the last year when that started to happen a little bit, and it was still a big enough school to where it didn't happen with most people. It was more just like the tennis team knew, basically people that were already in the space, and definitely my friends and friends of friends.
So the tennis team knew, and did that make them all want to play you? Were they like, I got to play you?
They, some of them, yeah, they dabble. Others were still like, tennis, what is pickleball? I did. I played a couple of them, and just for fun, yeah. Yeah,
at this point, if I wanted to play you, I'm not good, would you be like, I can't do that?
Pretty much. Yeah, unless there's a really good reason to play somebody, I'm not going to waste my time.
Have you ever played, for example, a college tennis player or someone who's decent at pickleball, not pro, not pursuing that at all?
Yeah.
That in your head, you're like, oh, you could be pro at pickleball. You should pursue
that happens frequently. Pretty much almost, I shouldn't say any, but a lot of, say, generalizing former D1 tennis players, if they practice full time for a year, they'd be good enough to play pro, not do super well, but they could certainly play pro with the right instruction. So yeah, I mean, you see that all the time. And of course, when you play them, it's just kind of comical because you're super athletic and coordinated, but you have no idea what to do. So you're terrible.
Right.
But you could be good.
Yeah.
If you were told the right thing to do.
But have you ever played someone and you told them, you're like, you should pursue this?
Yes. Yeah. A couple of people are like, you look natural.
And did they?
Some of them. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And you're like, they're my little guys. They're in it because of me.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, I did that with my brother. Like, from the start, I was like, you could be good for these reasons. You should come play, and here's what we're going to do. So we kind of molded him to be my perfect partner. I was like, here's the stuff you need to learn to be good for me. He's like, all right, I'm there.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Were you better at tennis or table tennis?
I'd say purely like compared to everybody else, I was better at table tennis, but talent-wise, I'd say tennis.
You definitely get recognized at pickleball tournaments, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Do you or have you ever been recognized out and about in your normal life?
Airports are the most common. That's happened a number of times. But I was actually in Aspen, Colorado recently, and some guy like stopped his car in the street. Was like, "Yo, I need a picture."
He
I
saw
was
you,
like, that's
he saw
kinda
you
weird.
walking
Like,
on the street?
yeah. I was like, I don't even look at people on the street. How did you recognize me? So that was the first time somebody stopped a car in the middle of the street to do that, which is kind of funny. But yeah, airports, it happens.
You ever get hit on by guys or girls wanting to be with you because of it?
Occasionally.
Yeah. Do chicks ever slide into your DMs and be like, "I love the way you play.
Yeah.
Let's hang out."
Yeah.
Nice. Are you single?
No.
Taken. Okay.
So through your whole pickleball career, taken?
No.
You pick up your girl through pickleball?
No.
Oh, good question. Good question. Yeah. Is your girl a
It's
groupie?
better to stay out of the pickleball world.
Yeah, that's pretty much any industry.
It's kind of a
better,
microcosm. It's kind of a small world where everybody knows everybody. So
Yeah.
it's not really what you want to be in for that purpose.
Totally. Yeah, of course. That's not why you're not playing pickleball for the chicks.
No,
But-
because it's not exactly a chick magnet. When I say slid into your DMs, I might be talking about like 3 people, right?
Right.
No, it's not like a professional sport like basketball or something. It's
Sure.
crazy.
Not yet.
Not yet, right?
Yeah, you might.
But
Your
it's funny to
girlfriend-
say, yeah, I play pickleball.
your partner
professionally.
better
I've
watch
never
out.
used that as a pickup line, right? You don't want to mention pickleball.
But it is a good talking point if someone says, "What do you do?" and you go, "I play pickleball." They're probably like, "Oh, tell me more." But if I'm sure that brings up a lot of questions.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
I usually avoid the questions, so it's just like I teach pickleball. I'll keep it at that. Because
if you're riding an Uber and the Uber driver says, "What do you do?"
I never answer that. Completely honestly.
Yeah, what do you say? I teach.
Yeah, usually.
Got it. That's
Which is
interesting.
not a lie. I don't like that, so I have.
It's
taught
not a
pickleball
lie.
in the
You
past.
teach.
Yeah,
At your vacation.
I do. Yeah,
thing,
on the
you teach
vacations.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
I want to do one of those. That looks fun.
They're pretty
me and my
fun.
brothers have talked about it.
Yeah, they're very fun.
It's fun. My brothers are big fans of you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
They're more into pickleball than I am.
Mhm.
They're the ones that told me about you. And even there's this guy. I don't know him very well or much at all, but there's a guy. Have you heard of Kyle Newacek?
I think I know the name.
So Kyle
Vaguely.
Newacek created the show Workaholics,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and he follows you on Instagram
Uh-huh.
as a fan. It's pretty cool. Like, because it's one of those things, pickleball is small, but it's a growing sport, and there's probably people in all fields that watch you and know about
More
you.
than anything, I've never seen a sport that brings so many like different backgrounds in. Like you might know this guy from this field and this guy from this field. And it's just so drastically different. You're like, there's no other area I'd be in where I'd have these two people both interested in the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I've never met such a diverse background of interesting people as pickleball. It's very cool in that way.
Me and my writing partner, we wrote a television show based around pickleball, a pilot that we just finished writing. And I'm gonna pitch it to you right. I'm not gonna pitch it to you right here, but I am gonna.
I want it right
to you.
now.
I'm gonna send it to you, and I want you to consider playing a small role in it
Okay.
because it'll be fun. It'll be funny, and I don't think that's been done yet.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so it'll be
It's good.
It'll
I've
be
read it. I can vouch.
Let's
It's
go.
good.
All
It's
right.
good.
You
Yeah,
too.
it's gonna be good. I don't know. It sounds cool. This is a question from my brother Jonah. Which brand of pickleball do you prefer?
Brand of pickleball. So we usually use the Durafast 40 in pro tournaments, which has been the ball for like 20 years, and it's got some flaws. It cracks a lot. It gets out of round, but it's usually good in the hot weather because it's like the hardest ball. And then my previous sponsor, old sponsor, Franklin Sports, makes a ball too, and they're a little easier to play with in the colder weather, but gets really mushy in the hot weather. So it actually kind of depends on
Depends on the weather.
the climate you're playing in.
Interesting.
And then my new sponsor, Yola, made a decent ball recently, and they haven't really been using that in tournaments yet, but I'd like to see it in some different climates as well.
Very interesting. So it sounds like the ball still needs to be.
It needs to be
Needs to be
refined,
per-
for sure.
refined and
Yeah,
perfected.
mostly because of the climate. Like, you can't play with the same ball in
I was going to
40
ask you
degrees
about
versus
that.
80.
It's such a growing sport. Is there any other things in the sport that you think need to be fixed besides, let's say, the ball? Is there any?
I think there's a lot of growing pains in the sport. I think the scoring's pretty weird for people to learn. It's very difficult because there's 3 numbers in it, like designating the server. So that could be definitely simplified for sure.
So it's a big rule change of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, scoring I don't view as rules so much.
Or
Like,
yeah,
scoring's
not
just
rules,
kind of a
but
mechanics
it's a
thing.
big part of the game.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And I think it's just hard for people to learn, and it's hard for TV to follow. So that could be a little bit better. Other than that, I think like the sport itself, rules wise, is pretty good. It's
If
pretty-
you
very fun to
were
watch.
is there a commissioner of pickleball? Is there a team that
there's a
decides these things?
commissioner of the Pro Tour.
Okay, so if you were the commissioner of the Pro Tour, how would you change the scoring system?
So I'd go to rally scoring, which just means kind of like volleyball. You know how volleyball you could only score on your serve previously, and then they went to every point is a point.
Right.
They need to do that. And they need to not do like the side switching. So when we win a point, we switch sides.
Every time you switch sides,
Every time we win a point on our serve, which is too specific, right?
Wow.
You could either
That's a lot. It sounds like could be a lot of switching.
right. And I'm just like,
sometimes.
why do you need to switch sides? It doesn't make that much sense. Like you don't need to do that. So yeah, I do rally scoring and just no more side switching.
Yeah. And I'm such a noob to pickleball. I don't even know the rules at all. So when you play, let's say if me and you were on a team, we were playing Morgan and another guy, do we play one game and then it's over in the tournament?
Typically, it's best 2 out of 3 games up to 11. So I classify them as points are within a game, games are within a match, right? So 3 games up
and
to
a match.
11. Yeah, best out of 3. So if you win 2-0,
Yeah, you'd think
win
the
match.
side switching would happen in between games, not.
Oh, so I don't mean the side in that way. I mean like with your partners. There's a left side and a right side.
Oh, right.
And
Okay.
we switch every time we win a point on our serve.
Okay.
We switch every game with our opponents.
Got
right?
it.
Side that
Oh,
way.
so you said that your brother plays one side and you play the other
Yes.
side.
Yeah. So I mean, like, split the court widthwise down the middle.
Mhm.
There's a left side and a right side,
Right.
like tennis. We call that ad court, deuce court.
Uh-huh.
He plays deuce court. I play ad court, right side, left side.
So then what happens when you switch sides on the?
So there's something called stacking in the game. So basically, imagine he's serving from the left side.
Oh,
he
he
has
then
to.
switches from the other side.
What I would do is I just stand on his left. So after he serves from the left side, he just scoots over to his right, so he's still on the right.
Got it.
So it's just about serving.
Serving and returning. So you have to serve on a specific side and return on a specific side.
And that's
right now.
probably the same strategy every team uses. Is they
Right.
kind of go to
You
their
have
positions.
Yeah,
immediately.
exactly. So after they return, if you're returning from the side you don't want to be on, you just run diagonally instead of straight up to get to the other
Right.
side.
And do you want that to change as well, to where you won't have to do that?
I just think, however, it could be simpler for people to learn and spectate.
Mhm.
It's better just because viewership, you kind of want that, right?
Right.
For the players, it doesn't matter very much. Like if you want to be on a specific side, you
can
can
go
still
there.
stack, right?
Mhm.
You can still run to the side you want to
Right.
be on.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't need to
But
be
they
that
don't do that in tennis. They don't switch sides like that, do they? Or-
Kinda, yes and no. They won't do it that dramatically, but they'll play an I formation. So, like in doubles, if you have a big server, you'll often have the guy kneel in the middle of the court, and then after the serve will just go one way,
Right.
and you don't know which way he's going to go. So it's more of a surprise rather than I'm going to play this side. It's more of a you don't know which side I'm going to play.
Interesting strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of, I would say, known as the number one pickleball player.
Yeah.
Are you ranked number one in singles and doubles?
So currently, right now, so I took a break over the summer. I skipped a couple tournaments, and I think my ranking in singles fell to number 2,
Okay.
and I think the same for men's doubles. So I've been number 1 for a couple
What made
years.
you take the break?
I wanted to go to Europe.
nice.
I hadn't been to Europe yet.
Yeah.
And I was doing that for my vacation company, and I wasn't worried about missing whatever
Got it.
2 tournaments or whatever.
So, but pretty much you're still known, even though you're technically ranked
Generally
number 2,
known as doubles, mixed doubles, singles, all 3.
number 1. Because you're known as number 1, do you find it hard to be coached to get better? Like it's hard, it's hard when you're at the top. How do you improve?
That's a good
from there?
question
Yeah.
for sure. I find it interesting because I call pickleball like an unsolved sport. In any other established sport, there's usually a right way to do things. That's why there are coaches in those sports. I don't have a coach, and most players don't, because who's going to coach you?
Right.
Who's played long enough to be
And
like,
especially
I know
who's going
more
to
than
coach you?
Right? Exactly. So it's like, it's not that a good player makes a good coach, but players have to coach themselves by necessity because most players don't know more than another player, right? You have to experiment to kind of figure stuff out. I feel like that's what's made me good mostly, is just I got better through experimentation and figuring stuff out. Like year to year, players do different stuff and get better and add new skills. And if you don't do that, you're going to get left behind. So I feel like learning from other players to do stuff well and just experimenting with stuff on your own is what makes you better. And that's the best coaching you can do, is just trying new things, basically.
And is the community of pro players very friendly? Do you guys give each other tips, or is it more like, hey, good luck?
It's friendly in that it's small enough to where you kind of know everybody and you naturally become at least acquaintances to where you're polite. There's, kind of your subdivisions where these people are friends and these people are
Sure.
friends, whatever, like anything. I wouldn't say we don't give each other tips so much,
Got
just because it's not really your place, right? It's
Right.
just like, yo, you should do this. It's like, all right,
But you
whatever.
watch each other play at least.
For sure.
And do you typically find yourself watching yourself play after every big
Both.
tournament?
Both. Yeah. There's a lot of analysis to be taken away, whether it's a certain matchup or what you did well, what you did wrong, all
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
How long do you think you'll be the best for?
Hard
Hard to say, probably.
Yeah, super hard to say. There's new players coming in all the time. There's a lot of good players all the time. So yeah, I guess I just gotta take it one day, week, month at a time. and keep trying to be good. So I hope it's a long time, but
Yeah.
who knows, right?
So you have your own. There's a paddle that's your paddle, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, with your branding name. You're the face of the paddle.
Right. So yeah, we do things in pickleball called like a signature paddle.
A signature paddle,
I'm
yeah.
sure you. I mean, if you know anything about tennis, like you'll see Roger Federer's
Sure.
signature on a Wilson racket, right? It's a similar thing in pickleball where it's like, this is what I endorse, this is what I use, my name's on it. So if you want to get behind a certain player, if
Did
you're a
you
fan of
have
that
any
player-
involvement? Did you make any adjustments to the
contributions?
paddle
Yeah,
to
quite-
make it yours?
Quite a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't say most players do a little bit of that. I did a decent amount more just because I'm very interested in it. I love paddle production, creation, designing, all that. So yeah, kind of switching sponsors, going from one to the other. The main impetus in me doing that was the paddle production, like the
Mhm.
capabilities.
You
they
wanted
had.
your paddle to get better.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I did it with them, and it's been pretty.
And
smooth
so,
sailing.
so do you see yourself making like a version 2 then, and
For
making
sure. Yeah,
refinements?
no,
and
we're
all
doing that right
stuff?
now. I'll get prototypes next week, and I think we'll see a version 2 before the end of the year.
And would you say, I don't want to be too invasive, but is the paddle money really good in comparison to other things? Is it more right now kind of a project that could grow in the future?
Paddle money, as in like
Just
sponsorship.
you just your deal
Oh,
of
yeah.
your own pro model.
So it's pretty like it's not so much that it's your paddle and then it's your company or anything. Like you're just
Right.
endorsing a paddle that another company produces. So it's a
Right.
pretty standard sponsorship deal,
Mhm.
just like tennis. Like you endorse Wilson, whatever.
Right.
Same kind of deal sponsorship wise. They've gotten a lot better, and yeah, no, I'm very happy with the trajectory pickleball's had. It's getting better every year, and I'm super happy with what it is now. And if it gets better, fantastic. I'd say like 3 years ago, it was negligible, right? So like what I got 3 years ago might be standard for any top 10 player now,
Mhm.
right? So it's very dramatic in what has gotten normal.
And do you have a sports agent?
Yeah, so I tried one, dropped them because I didn't really gel with them. And then I was like, I don't think, and this is kind of a hot take, but I don't think sports agents have a very hard job. I don't think it's hard to do. I think it's really easy to do. And the reason players don't do them is they're not really supposed to deal with that. You don't really want like a direct relationship with endorsers, right? So you need somebody to do it, but I don't think it's difficult. And the main thing I was looking for is trust. Like, who do you trust to do the
Mhm.
best for you and not the best just for them?
Mhm.
And that was my dad. So he actually manages all my partnerships now. And the only reason I think I'd go to another sports agent would be for the connections than anything. Like,
I was gonna
if
say-
you know this company because you worked with them before, that's really helpful, right?
Mhm.
That's what an agent kind of provides. And the funny thing right now is pickleball is so lively in terms of brands coming in that it's not so much about who you know. Like, you're getting approached all the time just
Right.
because they want to get into pickleball. So that's not really an issue right now. Maybe it is in the future where I would do it just because they have connections to so-and-so, but right now it's unnecessary.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I imagine with pickleball, it's just kind of this new untapped territory where maybe not having a sports agent isn't that crucial right now, but as a tennis player, it is. And
Yeah.
and there's top agents and there's little agents.
Agreed. Yes.
And I'm not in that field, but if I was a big agent, I think whoever works from these big giant sports agents like tennis agents,
Mhm.
that is the first one to start signing pickleball players if they're not already. That would
Right.
be a smart move.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would do something super big, but I'm not going to go to
Right,
run of the
just-
mill. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. My brother used to work for CAA.
Exactly. So CAA is like
Right.
number one.
So he
It's
wanted me to ask you about that.
he's King Kong.
Yeah, he gets
So CAA, I think I'd accept.
Yeah, they're big. They're big shots. Who is your biggest threat? Who's your rival? Who is your pickleball enemy?
Rival. I don't think. I mean, obviously, there's people are good at different divisions, so like mixed doubles, singles. So like the guy I play most, the team we play most in men's doubles is Matt Wright and Riley Newman. They're the. I think we're. Let's see. I know Matt has the ranking position right now over me, but as a team this year, me and my brother are like 4-1 maybe against them. So we're doing good this year, but they're kind of the main rivals, so to speak. And I wouldn't really call it a rivalry exactly, but
They're more looking up at you, wanting to take you down than you're losing sleep over them.
yeah. But we play them enough for it to be considered the primary two. And singles play a lot of different guys, and I'd say they're more it's variety. It's new players coming in because tennis players get better at singles a lot faster than doubles. So there's a ton of new tennis players that have gotten really good that I actually haven't played yet. So I wouldn't really call their like a rivalry in singles, but there's certainly a lot of really good guys.
Would you say doubles is more popular than singles?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically because most of the viewership is players, and most of the players play doubles. They don't play singles.
And
Singles
why
just-
is that? That most people play
singles
doubles.
is, despite it being what seems like a small court, it's a lot of work. It's very physical. Not because you have to cover a ton of court, because the ball doesn't bounce very high. You don't have a ton of time to get to the ball, so you're doing like these quick sprints all over the place. And because the net's kind of easy to cover, you get run around a lot when your opponent's at the net. So it's just a very physical game, and if you're playing 4 or 5 matches in a day, it's really tough. So most players are not looking to do that. They're looking to play more fun.
And so would you say, as you see the sport growing viewership wise, are the bigger tournaments going to lean more towards doubles? Do you think doubles will
Most
be
likely.
Yeah.
I think singles has some entertainment value because it kind of looks like tennis, but with some interesting shots, like some interesting strategy. So there's definitely a place for it that people could enjoy watching. Like I enjoy watching it when it's high level. When it's not super high level, it's very uninteresting because
it's a little slower. The ball moves slower.
It's quick points. Right.
Yeah.
Like the average tennis rally length at the pro level of the guys, I think, is like 3 right now because it's huge serves. Right. Similar in pickleball a lot of the time in that it's like serve, return, passing shot. That's usually the rally. But with some of the players, it's more lengthy. And those are the kind of interesting things that I think people can get behind and watch. But I still think doubles is the primary thing just because a lot more people play it.
Do you have any moments in your pickleball that in your head you're like, that was a crazy moment?
A crazy moment in pickleball, like
where maybe it's a crazy point or rally, maybe a crazy match, maybe a crazy win that's very memorable.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the craziest one I had was, so remember I was saying that my first tournament was the 2016 US Open. I went back to that tournament a year later, 2017 US Open. I had no expectations. I was not good yet. I was not known yet, and I won the singles. Like that
First place.
That was
And
out of the blue.
And were people mad?
They were just like, "Where'd you come from?"
Yeah, because you think if someone had been playing
but
for years and this new guy comes in and gets first, they'd be like, "God dang it!"
Right? Yeah. No, I mean, not mad. It was just more like very out of the blue. Both like it was one of the times where I had very little expectations, and it just kind of happened. So that's kind of the most memorable moment for me. Yeah.
You seem to be very entrepreneurial and business oriented in this as well with your
I do like business.
with your vacations and the instructional company. Was that something you realized early on? You're like, there's big opportunities here that I need to take advantage of, or was it other people that approached you and you're like, okay?
Yeah, kind of. I'd say pickleball is interesting in that there's a ton to do because people are so interested in it. There's a lot of unsaturated markets within pickleball. So like the vacation company at the time when we started it, it was probably like the second one, honestly. Like that's absurd.
How many are there now?
A lot more. It's still a small market, but people want to go on vacations. They want to play pickleball while they're on those vacations, and that's kind of what we fulfill. And there's just not that many other companies doing that really well. There's just a few. So there was that. It was more just recognizing, hey, there's a need for this, and it's not there, and we could do it very easily, right? Same thing with the instructional.
What
content.
percentage of the people that book your vacations do you think would book it if you weren't there? Do you think
we were actually talking about that recently?
Yeah.
So me and my co-owner were just like, how much, what is attributed to me directly and kind of the name behind it, and it definitely does a lot. We get requests a lot, like, am I going to be on it or not? Right, on the trip.
Are you at everyone or no?
I used to be on a lot more. The upcoming year, I'm probably doing a little less than half of them.
Okay.
Just because the schedule's super busy. But I'd say I'd probably estimate like 80% care, 80 to 90 like care and would prefer it. Like that's definitely a lot. Would they not sign up if I wasn't there? I'd say it's probably more like 30%.
Gotcha.
Just an estimate.
So everyone would prefer it, but they're going to do it whether you're there or not.
Mostly.
Like, do you have to check on the website? Do you say Ben's at this one?
Yeah. So sometimes because of schedule, we can't commit to say I'm going to be on this one. But when I know I can, then we'll say it. And then usually signups happen a lot faster. So that's definitely what people prefer, but it's not always going to be that way. And generally people are still, they still love the model, which is just vacations with pickleball.
Totally.
And the majority of our clients are returning clients. So our retention rate for clients last trip was like 50%.
That's crazy.
It's a huge number.
And when you're not there, is there another pro that goes in your place?
So we have a lot of pros. Me and my co-owner, either one or the other is almost on every trip. So far, I think it's been at least one of us. And then we just hired 2 managers to run trips for us outside of the pickleball. They'll do pickleball and the managing stuff. And then we'll usually bring along either like 4 to 6 assistant pros. So like on our Mexico trip, which is our biggest one, we had a total of 9 pros there.
What part of Mexico do you guys go to?
Cancun.
Awesome, yeah.
Playa del Carmen, which is an hour outside of Cancun.
What a fun little business.
Yeah, vacation
and you're
with pickleball.
employing people.
Yeah, no,
you're
it's awesome.
You're a 23-year-old businessman.
Yeah, Mexico, we had 160 clients over 2 weeks. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were you there?
Yeah, I was there for both weeks, and I think we filled up 3 more of those in December and February. December this year, February of next year. So we'll do 12 or 13 trips next year.
Wow. What's your least favorite thing about pickleball?
Least favorite thing. There's a lot of good things to be said about pickleball. Least favorite thing. I think that it's good and bad. Like it's a strength and a weakness, and that's that it's a microcosm. Like I was saying before, just everything is so small. Everybody knows each other. A small world is just it's good sometimes, and it's also difficult sometimes, just because of how people naturally are.
Gossip.
A lot
of pickleball gossip.
Clicky.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that's a complaint for some people.
Is it gatekeepy? Is there a lot of gate?
No, usually it's pretty welcoming, actually.
Really?
Yeah. People in pickleball are very passionate about it generally, so they like to get others into it. They like to bring other people to the dark side.
Because a lot of microcosms are very gatekeeping.
Yeah, no, they don't have that. Yeah, it's not as
Nice.
gatekeepy as other sports. Like I'd say tennis is more like that than pickleball. Pickleball is super welcoming just because people love it so much. They want other people to love it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. A lot of people say you're on steroids. What do you have to say to those people?
Absolute lie. Never taken steroids.
No one said that. I've never heard that rumor. But
Neither have I. Just because if you're taking steroids for pickleball, you're not doing it right.
Are there any pickleball? So you don't think there's any pro pickleball players on steroids?
One, I don't think it would help enough.
Why are you blushing so much right now?
Don't worry about it. One, I don't think it would help very much, and 2, like health concerns wise, I don't think it's worth the trade off of.
Is there any drug testing going on?
No, that'll only happen once it hits the Olympics, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think or maybe once big money.
Sure. Yeah.
Because what's the biggest tournament payout?
Biggest tournament payout.
I assume it's public info.
Yeah, no, it's definitely there. So I think like first prize right now would be like $25K for
a big tournament.
Yeah.
So, and there's 2 big tournaments, you said.
No, that was in 2016. Now there's a lot of big tournaments. Yeah.
There's a lot. So if you're number 1 player and you're doing 10 tournaments, how many tournaments a year do you think there are?
A little over 20, like low
so
20s.
Theoretically, if you won 20 tournaments, I mean,
yeah, they're not all 25K, but yeah, it's still very good prize money wise.
That's pretty cool. But you split it if you win if you're a doubles player.
There's higher payouts for doubles than singles, so it's usually, it comes out to about the same.
That's pretty cool.
Has there been any fights on the court?
Fights on the court? Yeah, no, there have. Not personally with
physical
me.
Ones.
Close.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think one physical one. No, never with me.
Okay.
I don't usually get into fights. I just laugh. But yeah, I think there's been one fist fight that I know of.
Oh, cool.
And other than that, getting close to it.
What's your favorite tournament of all the tournaments?
Favorite tournament is where I actually just came from. So it's in San Clemente. It's a Lifetime Fitness. It's like a tennis club. And it's got this amazing like view of the ocean. It's got a super cool stadium court with like enough room for definitely over 1,000 people crowd. So like nice courts, perfect climate, and like the crowd's super into it. The facility's awesome. So that's my favorite, San Clemente, the PPA tournament there.
Are there any? Because now it's mostly tennis courts that they convert to use for pickleball.
Right.
Are there any pickleball only clubs?
Oh no, yeah, definitely a ton. Yeah, it's just that facility wise, the new ones that go up from the ground up or that are pickleball. Don't get me wrong, there's a ton of those, but they haven't had a large enough number to be the best facilities. Right?
Sure.
So like the U.S. Open is a pickleball only facility, but my favorite like view wise and facility wise is stuff that's already built like the Lifetimes and like there's nationals at Indian Wells, which is a huge tennis court that everybody knows. Right. Yeah. So it's really cool venues that are like, oh, we should do pickleball. Right. Yeah. They're already really nice, revered venues.
Sure. That's pretty sick. Okay. I'm going to read these from my brother.
You got a lot of content from your brother.
Yeah. I have 2 brothers. They're both giving me content. Do all pro pickleball players use tennis shoes, or are there shoes specifically designed for pickleball?
There's both. Yeah, there's some for pickleball. Most players just use tennis shoes. And
what do you use?
I use a tennis shoe.
Got
Yeah,
it.
so there's stuff that is designed specifically for pickleball, but it hasn't been done well enough to where it's like this is clearly better. Like,
Right.
they're similar enough to where everyone's kind of like, yeah,
They're
well,
working on it.
You'll generally see that almost everybody uses a very light tennis shoe. So there's certain types of tennis shoes you want to look for, but tennis shoes are still close enough.
After the U.S., what other countries are playing pickleball at the highest levels?
So it's decent in Canada, Mexico, Britain, France, Spain, but none of them are anywhere near the U.S. Yeah, the U.S. has whatever 5 million players, and I'd say no other country has more than like 100,000.
Wow. Whoa, that's
it's
pretty
a
big
huge
discrepancy. How has it changed since pickleball has gone to TV?
TV, kind of just everything that goes along with TV. You get bigger crowds, more fans, more sponsors, higher prize money, better tournaments, just kind of overall.
Does it make you more nervous?
Not really, just because it's interesting that I started out in pickleball when it was still in its infancy, where it wasn't really doing anything. In some ways, you naturally just still view it like that. So even when it means a lot more and matters a lot more, it's still the same game it ever was.
You don't look at yourself in the mirror a little longer?
Nope.
Making sure your hair's looking good.
Not really, which maybe I should.
Who watches TV now anyway, right? It's probably more popular on TikTok.
I never watch TV.
It might be. I mean, because you can. It's a sport, so I'm sure there's it's probably on a streaming service, right?
Yeah, we're on Tennis Channel a lot, which is a big one. So yeah, streaming is the primary thing right now, but obviously TV still has its attraction.
Do you think there'll be a pickleball reality show like the F1?
I definitely do. So they've already shot content for that. They're not ready to use it just because there's not enough people interested in stuff like that. Like there's a ton of pickleball players and a ton of people interested in pickleball, but not that many interested in the pros. Like there's obviously a lot, but not the amount you'd need for a TV show. So they're gonna stow that for a year or two, I think.
Oh, interesting. Do you play any other sports?
I still play tennis. I still play table tennis, and I'll golf, and really any paddle or racket sport.
Is there any problems in your life that I could help you with?
Problems in my
Personal,
life?
professional. I'm a pretty smart guy.
Don't hold back. He can help you.
All right. I'll try to think of a real.
What keeps Ben Johns up at night?
Oh, I sleep like a baby.
Where do you live?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Oh, I love Austin. Pretty hot there right now. But
Oh my God, it's over 100.
big comedy scene there. I've been there
I
a couple
love-
times for
I love
comedy.
stand-up comedy.
Rogan lives there now, and if you
Big
knew that.
big fan of Rogan, yeah, in Austin.
Hinchcliffe.
Elon Musk is kind of my idol, and he lives
Elon
in
Musk,
Austin.
yeah.
So Austin's a great city to be in right now. Real estate's kind of crazy though.
How's the pickleball scene out there?
It's probably the hottest in the U.S.
It is.
Yeah, as
number
far as
one.
number
you'd
of
say.
pros go, not number of players, number of pros.
Got
Yeah.
it. What do you think it? Just because of the taxes, or why do you think it is?
So
like
a
that?
facility went up there that had a lot of pickleball courts, and the founder basically offered a bunch of pickleball players free housing and training there if they just kind of were associated with the facility.
Do you have that? Are you part
I'm
of
not
that?
personally
Okay.
associated with that facility, but a couple of my friends moved there, and I knew I wanted to be out of Maryland after I was done with school there. And it's central; you can get to all tournaments pretty easily, so it just made sense to be there. Yeah, and I also got an offer from another facility that was going up there. It's not finished yet, but they're like, "Hey,
So you might join that one.
Same deal. I'm definitely joining that one, but they're just not done yet. So
Cool.
it's
And
Austin Pickle Ranch.
So what's your housing situation right now? You
got an
buy a
apartment.
house,
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah,
chilling.
and they're not doing the housing deal. It's more just like be associated with the facility,
Right.
exhibitions there, practice there, and
They'll probably start a big
deal in
tournament
return.
there, or do they already
yeah,
have
they'll
one?
do tournaments. Yeah,
Very exciting.
they're going up in October or November.
Yeah. So what can I help you with? You think of anything?
Let's see, life stuff outside of pickleball, because pickleball is obviously going great. Time management, I struggle with that sometimes.
Busy boy.
Yeah, it's either like I'm doing pickleball stuff or training and doing all that, and once I'm done, I don't want to do anything else, so I just waste my time.
Oh, and now you have a girl, so you have to kind of balance.
There's a lot of balance.
Did she ever get mad?
No. No.
She's never like, you play pickleball too much. What's with all this pickleball?
No, a job's a job. It is a job. Even though I love my job, it's still, I mean, you take it
Do
seriously.
you watch like TikTok content of it at home?
Little, not a lot. No. I would only watch stuff like on YouTube for analysis purposes.
Okay, so you're
mostly.
not doing it for fun.
Oh, no, I know what I need help with. I need help with content. I don't know how to do the TikTok.
I did notice that. I was like,
struggle that.
how
I
is-
I hate it. I can't do it.
Oh, well, I just noticed, like, how is the number? It's a, I recognize it's not a giant sport,
Right.
but it is a very big sport that's growing to be bigger. How is it you're not have a bigger following?
Exactly.
Online?
Right.
Well, it sounds like you have the budget to where if I were you, now this can be a little douchey because you don't want to be the guy that's like walking around with like a camera guy filming you. You don't want to be that guy.
I've done that.
Yeah. But you don't want to be always that guy. But you probably practice enough with just your own circle of people to where you don't care.
Yeah.
I would have someone just kind of who their whole job, like a full-time person, and their whole job is to make content for you and edit it and put it out on your social media.
I feel like that might be the move. My struggle is like I need somebody that knows pickleball enough to do good pickleball content, but is also quality. And pickleball is kind of small, and that it's hard to find that person.
I bet you if you posted an Instagram story saying, I'm looking for a full-time pickleball content creator for you, one of your followers is probably some young college kid
And that's what you
that-
want for content.
that would
True.
that
True.
knows that would know how to do that and would kill to do it. And I don't know what you'd pay that person. Let's say start them out at 40 grand a year or whatever, or don't start out a month to month thing to make sure it works.
Maybe I need to bring them to tournaments, everything.
Yeah.
The full deal.
100%.
For real, I think it'd be worth it because, 40 grand's not nothing, but it might end up paying for itself really fast.
For sure.
With
Yeah.
Because if you grew a big channel, you'd get way bigger brand deals than you're getting. I'm sure your brand deals are big, but they'd be way bigger.
Yeah,
because at the
everything,
end of the day, these brands want to see a return, and that's what's going to get them the return.
Yeah. It's for me. It's like I realize I need it, and I would pay for it. It's all about finding the right person. And I'm just like I don't know how to find the right person. That's really.
Do you have
the
an
problem.
assistant or anything?
Travel agent, regular agent, occasional videographer, and looking at a physical therapist and a physical trainer.
It sounds like you might also
I have a
need
team
an
for
assistant.
everything except for
Because I was going to say if you had an assistant, they could help you find this
That's
person.
true.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you have two businesses. You have your own paddle. You're winning all these tournaments. I think it's a no-brainer to find someone like this, and I guarantee that person already knows who you are.
Yeah.
Would love to do it.
Yeah.
Because that makes it even better. Like the right amount. You put 40 grand to somebody, you could find that person even if you were me or Morgan or no one knew who you were. But you have a fan base and a pretty diehard one that would probably kill to do this job.
Yeah, for sure.
So to me, that would be a no-brainer. And then just you'd be putting out daily content of just your routines,
need
your
to be daily, need to be on
exercises.
multiple platforms these days. It's like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all three.
The course you already do, the video course, I haven't looked at it too much, but I even imagine there could be some sort of version of that that's cut up and put out on social media
I
and
need
stuff
to do
like that.
That's I actually had that idea a while ago, and I just never followed up. 'Cause I'm terrible with content. God,
But and as you should be, because you don't want to focus all your energy on
that's
that.
not my job.
Your job is to win at pickleball and to do that. So you should be horrible. That's why you got to hire someone to do it.
Yeah.
You don't want to focus because editing does take one little 1 minute clip. Might take someone a couple hours. That's what he pretty much does here at the studios. He
full-time
edits
job.
clips. It takes a couple hours per clip. You don't want to be doing that.
No,
But and mind you, a younger person than me is better.
Yeah.
And they'll know what works.
it's true.
So that's that's probably the move to do that. I would say. I think it's a no-brainer for you. I mean, I see it.
Everyone hear that?
every
Listen
other
to this
sport.
podcast. I need somebody.
Yeah, someone listening to this might reach out, DM him on Instagram. That's how we connected. He checks his DMs somewhat.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You have any other questions for Ben?
What's the party scene like?
Oh, good question.
Party
Pickleball
scene.
parties.
Well,
Like at tournaments?
yeah, I'd say you can definitely get to some parties, but it's nothing crazy. Vegas is usually the most party oriented, but it's more within your group basically that likes to go out or whatever. So it kind of depends on who you're with.
There's no after parties for the whole tournament.
Not really.
And there's no people getting wasted at the tournaments?
Oh, there's definitely that.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
tailgating and the whole hang?
A lot of
be
the,
a lot of coke.
a lot of the spectators will do some stuff. I feel like you have a lot of the older crowd on the spectators, so it's more like happy hour than like straight up partying.
Sure.
It's like they're all drinking, but they're all not going crazy.
I saw the picture of your vacation thing. There's a lot of old folks who play pickleball.
But old
Oh,
and
folks
a lot of
don't
people I know who are older who play pickleball.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, old people want to go on vacation. They got money to spend.
Yeah, that's what
It's perfect.
You get hit on by a lot of MILFs.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Are there any, I'm not going to ask you to say a name, but are there any hot female pro pickleball
Oh yeah,
players
for sure.
that are, dime pieces out there?
It depends on what your type is. You know, if you're into athletic,
Oh, I'm
kind of
into
like tennis.
athletic.
All right, then
Yeah.
there's some dimes for you.
Too.
Yeah. Oh man.
Good answer.
Maybe I want. I already have a girlfriend. Maybe I want her to start playing pickleball.
Yeah, definitely depends on. I mean, if you like tennis players, then you will probably like pickleball players.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I like
Who's
Anna
not, who's
Kournikova.
not into a Maria Sharapova?
Yeah,
huh?
Maria Sharapova. Damn.
Yeah.
Sign me up. It'd be kind of cool to date a pro female pickleball player.
Somebody more
Just
athletic
such
than you.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he gets more athletic than me, but different in a different way.
Built different.
Yeah, it's like that's pretty cool. Do you have any other questions? Trying to think.
Mr. Producer,
No, I was gonna say you have a great tan going on.
the sock tan.
Yeah.
I know. Everyone
incredible.
says
That's
that.
why.
yeah, well,
that's
long
what's making me
socks.
think.
Does
of all
everyone want to
the-
see this sexiness? Look at that.
Good time to switch
I
to the
saw
ankles, I
that,
guess.
and
And
that's when I
everyone
went
thought it
to-
was about the farmer's tan. The sock tan is the rage these days.
No,
That's
it's-
how they know you're legit.
That's what made me think of all the partying stuff. You have like this tan right now of like a very like outdoors fratty style sports guy.
It's true.
He
That's
just
definitely
graduated
true.
college.
Yeah.
That's why I want to
Yeah.
know about the partying.
I was not a frat boy, but I did go to college.
Yeah. Do you like your
Frat boy
party
vibe.
in college?
I
you a
did,
partier
I did
guy?
the first 2 years, and then
Yeah.
I was over it.
Yeah, same for me. I kind of thought, okay, partying is fun and you're supposed to be into it. And then I realized after 2 years, I don't like this. And I never
don't
did
it.
like it.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy drinking that much,
Yeah.
and I get tired. I'm just like midnight. I want to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more of a Netflix and
And-
chill type of guy.
For sure. And I also just feel I hate it when I feel unproductive. So if I go to a party and then I'm at all hungover the next day and I need to train, I hate it. It just bothers me so
You probably
much.
have a lot of days where you wake up and you're like, I do not want to play pickleball today, but you just have to.
No, usually I still enjoy it.
Don't want
I like the grind. I like the training. It makes me feel like I'm doing something right, like I'm working hard and all that. And it just bothers me if I'm in a condition where I know I'm not giving it my all.
Does your brother obviously lives in Austin too? You
Yeah,
guys
we
train
practice together.
You live
every
together?
day. Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. And let's see, one final question.
Give me something
that I
spicy.
had. Spicy, okay. Body count, no, just kidding.
Oh, it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, pickleballers are known for having huge
Straight up
body count.
NBA.
They're
You're
sluts. Yeah.
whatever the most renowned
It'll
NBA
happen.
player is for that.
I think pickleball will be big.
Has any pickleball player gotten canceled? Has cancel culture
Cancel
been a thing at all?
culture, No.
Not yet.
Not
That
yet.
happens too.
Because it's mostly an older crowd that follows, and they don't know how to cancel.
You know who has the most things to cancel? Old people. They have
Really?
the most history. They have the most experiences.
That's true. And they just don't know how to do it.
23-year-olds, they can't be canceled. You haven't lived enough life yet. 40-year-olds.
Yeah, but they're more the fans and the spectators than the.
Yeah, so
than
they're
the
not
players.
researching.
Right.
They don't know how.
Right.
Is there a called referees?
Yeah.
I was about to call them umpires. Is there a referee that everyone hates or everyone likes? The referee where like that
Yeah,
guy makes the
there's-
worst calls.
so-
Fuck him.
The guy that is the head referee for the Pro Tour, the PPA Tour, is very well liked. Like everyone thinks he does a great job. His name's Don.
Any bias? You'll be like, he
There
loves that player.
have been some accusations of bias, not towards him, but to other referees. And I'm not the one to say whether it was true or not. But
But there were accusations.
they
of
were
it.
just. It's funny that because the pickleball world is small, it's
Yeah, they
crazy
know-
that somebody that obviously has a bias, like there'd be people associated with pickleball companies that would also referee. And it's like, what? You wouldn't see that in any other sport, right? You can't have somebody associated with like any stake in the game, because even if they're not biased, you can still have an accusation of it, which you don't want, right? So that's definitely happened.
What do you see yourself doing after? I know retirement could be, 15 years away potentially, but
Sure.
what would you see yourself doing after you stop playing competitively? Would you just keep down these lanes of these businesses that you've started? Do you see yourself becoming a coach or starting your own facility or being a referee or something like that?
Yeah,
Or
so
a
I'd
announcer?
say I wouldn't rule pickleball out completely, but I think once I'm done playing, I'm probably mostly done with it, just because playing was it's the thing I enjoy most, and I don't really want to do something that's in the same space, but I view it as less than playing. So I'd probably be in business most likely, and you just meet so many cool people. I don't think it'll be primarily the businesses I already have, probably something new, just based on kind of who I meet, the opportunities that present themselves, because you just have a lot of those in pickleball for whatever reason.
What about, are there pickleball announcers?
Uh-huh.
That'd be a cool job.
Yeah, so there's the guy that he does the announcing for the Timberwolves NBA team, so he does a lot of the pickleball.
Oh, so he's a legit announcer.
Yeah, they get some
NBA
good
announcer.
announcers.
Yeah.
And they have another guy. I just saw him on Tuesday. That he's really good as well. I forget what his background is, but he's done they're good. Yeah.
You ever an announcer say something bad about you, and you're like, "Fuck that guy."
They can
He's
get
like,
stuff
"Ah."
wrong because they don't know the sport super well. They're more just like typical announcers, but I don't hold that against them. That's
Or
fine.
they're just like, "Oh, looks like Ben doesn't have it today. He's playing like real
no,
shit." and
that's
you're
more
like, "Screw
that's more
you."
the peanut gallery than the announcers.
Yeah,
People love to.
Do you get haters at all?
For
Just
sure.
People sliding
Oh,
into
yeah.
your DMs being
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"I think you suck." Blah
Definitely.
blah blah.
Definitely.
People heckle
That's
from the
weird.
crowd?
That's happened. Yeah. No, it definitely happens. People have their favorites, and people like to see
You
the
get booed?
underdog win.
You ever get booed?
Not really. No, that's a little aggressive. But definitely like specific hecklers for sure.
Do the haters on the internet ever get to you? You ever like, "Oh, why?"
I don't
you
read.
so
I don't
mean?"
read any of it.
You don't read it?
No.
Okay.
I don't care at all what they think. So why would I read it?
Is pickleball? I imagine it's like tennis and not that diverse. Are there a lot of diversity in pickleball?
There's a lot of diversity in the non-pros.
Got it.
And I wouldn't say the pros are not diverse specifically.
But not
but-
super diverse.
Sure,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like all tennis backgrounds and diverse in other ways. So-so, let's say so-so. The communities that play worldwide, super diverse. Most diverse socioeconomic backgrounds that I've really seen in any sport, honestly. So yeah, you can't even really find a pattern other than it used to be mostly older. Now it's just getting younger. So you really have spanned everything. So outside the pros, for sure, very diverse.
Anything juicy you thought of?
How much, any number, to throw a game?
Oh, good question.
It's
Any
no,
number. And we're talking any number in the world.
wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't do it.
No.
I believe you.
Yeah, I just
believe
have a
him
policy.
too.
Yeah,
You love
I no amount of
You don't wanna
money
be
is
the Pete Rose
worth
of pickleball?
hating yourself. Which there's pride. Like I've actually been asked to do that before, and it wasn't even a large amount of money. But I was
But
like,
asked to throw?
So you got asked to throw a game?
yeah, I did, and I was like,
Okay, tell us that story. You don't need to say his name.
It was
or
another.
his-
It was another
or her
pro
name.
player, and it was kind of a round robin event to basically where if I threw the match, I wouldn't finish any differently, but they would, and they'd get more money. And they said I'd give you half, and I was like, no, I want to win because I want to win, not because I care about the money. The pickleball money is not big enough in pickleball to really care about that.
Ah.
I care about winning more than I care about
That person's still around,
the money. Yeah,
and you lose respect for that person a little bit in that moment.
I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Dude,
sure.
you
I almost thought they were joking, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. After I realized they were serious. So yeah, there's been that. I'd say with gambling coming in maybe next year that you're going to see a lot of.
There's going to be gambling next year?
Yeah, and then
That's kind of
probably
exciting, though.
It is because obviously that brings money and more attention and more fans, but definitely more haters and more people that care and more offers like that. And what I hate more than anything is I would never want to be like, what if you get upset in a match and then people think you threw a match? I was like, I never want to be under that kind of scrutiny because I know I would never do that, but it would really suck to think that other people thought that about me. They're just like, no, I would never do that. And yeah, really, it's not worth any amount of money because you can make money in a lot of ways, but it's more about earning it than anything for me.
Has there been any charity tournaments that you've done or anything like that, or celebrity matches?
Yes, I've played with some celebs and some pro-ams. So for charity, I did one in Hawaii that was pretty cool. That was for kids. And then, yeah, there's various charity events just because kind of anyone can play pickleball.
Mhm.
And that's kind of cool. So you can really easily get celebrities to do it. And they seem to like it a lot. So there's actually a ton of celebrities that play. I played with Jamie Foxx recently. I
Oh,
played
that's
with
huge.
Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Phelps.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
That's pretty
there's a lot of people that play. I know DiCaprio plays. I think Wahlberg plays. So a pretty good
Does
celebrity
it feel
contingent.
good to know you can beat every single one of them?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
I find it funny more than anything because they're usually not athletic. Like they're only decent at best.
Sure.
And it's just funny to watch, the person that you saw
Powerful
on
feeling.
TV or like Michael Phelps, greatest Olympian of all time. Then he gets on the pickleball court and it's like
Do
a
you
fish
think
out of
it'll be
water,
in the,
pun intended.
Do you think it'll be in the Olympics one day?
I do. I'm not really concerned with it. I don't think the Olympics is that important for a sport, honestly. I think the Pro Tour is more important.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Olympics happen naturally, that's amazing because it would mean it's in a lot of other countries. And I think a lot of other countries can benefit from it and enjoy it. And that's awesome. But it's not like a primary focus. That's other people's job.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you doing the podcast. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, sure.
And
this was
I
fun.
hope you enjoyed it.
Tell your brothers thanks for all the questions. They had some good ones.
Yeah, they had some Milan and Jonah. Shout out to you guys for a lot of the questions. tune in next week where we will be interviewing somebody else. I don't know who yet. See ya.
Surprise.
You're listening to
Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.
Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.